if you can't laugh at it, you're gonna cry, and you have to find your way that you're comfortable. Um, I mean, at some point or another, you're gonna talk about it. Someone's gonna ask. That's guaranteed. And whether it's some asshole who has their own idea of what we do over there, or someone who's actually been there and just curious about what your side of the story is. Have you ever heard of a bullet sponge? We had a job that people could volunteer for called bullet sponge. Um, if we got hit while on a convoy or on a foot patrol, and I would have to go to whoever was hurt, well, someone would have to run the exact opposite direction of me. That was the bullet sponge. Their whole job was to try and direct fire towards them so I could get to where I was going. And that's one of the things I loved about being a medic. Was at first nobody really fucking cares. There's like, you're a PFC, you're new to the Army, you're new to being a medic, you don't know your job, we don't know how you're going to react. And then after, something happens, maybe a couple things happen, and then they see how you react to that situation, then that's when they decide. That's when you earn that title, Doc. At first I was called Hey Medic, Hey Fuckstick, Hey You. Didn't really matter, but when they started calling me Doc, that's when they started trusting me, and that's when I realized that I was doing all right for myself, and I wanted to try and keep doing better. And at first, when you're Hey Medic, nobody volunteers to be the bullet sponge. But when it got to the point when it was, Hey Doc, I'll be the bullet sponge this time. And I've never had that camaraderie with anyone since then. Spino. We got ambushed, and this was as we were going through the riverbed to get to Fob Lane, which was north of Quillat, Fob Logman. Um, well, this fucking riverbed just runs through a valley, and we were getting hit from both sides. He was shot in the head, and he continued to fight after that. I've never seen anything like that at that point. And I could see the blood pooling in his eyes. And he collapsed. And then that was when I was able to start working on him. But with a gunshot wound to the head, you may have hope, but it's real slim hope. And I mean, they want to put him in for a Silver Star because he kept fighting for 10 minutes after that. I mean, to be able to do that was phenomenal. And the medevac, when I called in for that, they responded and said that they would be there in about 45 minutes. I told them that we didn't have 45 minutes. And I started doing CPR on this kid the whole time. I had him hooked up to an oxygen tank. Medevac shows up. I handed him off, and then they sent him to the hospital. I tried to be good to her. I gave her a home. I paid the bills. I tried to love her, be there for her. But I wasn't as emotionally there as I should have been. I couldn't tell her about times like, trying to save a kid's life just by pushing on his chest and breathing into his mouth for 45 minutes. I couldn't tell her about times when uh, I had to scoop a friend of mine's brains fucking back into his helmet, or put pieces of people into a body bag and send them home. Um, I couldn't tell her how it affected me that prior to my deployment, I was on funeral detail, and then during my deployment, I sat with bodies of people that I knew, people whose wives I knew, that people who deserve to come home, people who had every right to, good men. Um, Most of the time we were just dumb fucking kids.